Hey there. This is a little weird for me. I don't normally come on and do things like this, so a little out of my comfort zone, but we're gonna get there. So I wanted to create this. First of all, I'm playing around with a new system that does recording and like video and audio recording projects that I can use. And the reason that I am needing those is because a couple years ago, which is embarrassing to say since I'm just now doing it, God really put on my heart to start this project. And it's just been impressed upon again and again. You know, sometimes you start thinking, oh, is that actually God telling me to do something, or is it just my own thoughts, or whatever. And it's just been something then again and again God has put onto my heart. And so I guess without further ado, it is, I guess you could call it, a ministry called Adopt a Calling. So, backstory with this would be when I did my discipleship training school back in 2015 with YWAM, or Youth with a Mission, if you're not familiar with them. I guess just a real quick thing. So, a discipleship training school, or DTS, because YWAM loves the acronyms, is where you go, you pick one of their. Sorry. Not sure why that started up. So you pick one of their schools that is, they have campuses all over the world. So you choose one and you go for the first 3 months is going to be like your lecture phase. There it is. So that's where you go and you're doing like a lot of like the classroom learning and small group meeting, things like that. And then you're put on a team. One of the teams, depending on how big the school is, they send out multiple teams to different places where they're partnered with, and you go and you do your outreach. So mine was in South Africa, Cape Town, and then also in Reunion Island. So throughout this whole thing, in every place that I was, including in Switzerland, which is where I chose to do my first portion of it, because that was the original location, I met a lot of people, obviously from all over the world, all different walks of life, many of them going into ministry full time. So through social media and everything, I've been able to keep up with them and, hear about their ministry, follow their ministries, supported their ministries. But a big thing that I noticed was that, a lot of them, especially for, like several of my friends that were like in Africa and things like that, they didn't have, a lot of times like we do in America, as big of a base of people that can like support them financially. So, they were doing the best that they could with what they had. They were, getting support where they could, but mostly, it was a struggle with a lot. And there's a lot more that they wanted to be able to do that they weren't necessarily able to do because of the financial restraints. And I believed a big portion of that was just not enough people knowing about their ministry, because what they were doing was amazing. And I know that if other people were able to hear their story, to see what they're doing, to see their vision, that they would be able to connect with them on that level. And then they would in turn, got a dog here, possibly want to partner with them. And whether that is financially, obviously that's a big thing for missionaries, but also, just prayer partners and people that are just supporting them in that way. And you would never know what type of connections, you can make and what that will mean down the road. So that was just the big thing that I wanted to find a way to connect them. So over time, I couldn't even tell you all the different things at this point, because like I said, this has been going on for, a number of years, that kind of that little seed was planted and has been starting. But God just kept putting it on my heart. And, they say that when you question whether it's God or whether it's you, a lot of times, if it keeps coming back and keeps getting put on your heart and on your mind, then, that's probably God speaking to you. So I just wanted to finally fall into that commitment. I don't know if that's the right word. Bear with me here. But, I want to be obedient. I want to surrender to God. There's been so much in my life lately that has just been confirming the need for, just total surrender and commitment. I want God to be the Lord of every area of my life. And I don't want to stand back because I'm afraid of things like this. Like your perfectionism tendencies start to come out, especially when you want to tackle something like this, because you want to do it in excellence, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the fear of not being able to do it good enough shouldn't hold you back. So that's why I'm here. I finally found, a program and everything that will help me to accomplish this, hopefully. So still playing around with it. Just wanted to do this initial video just to kind of give, some insight into what I'm trying to create here. So back to what I'm doing. So Adopt a Calling is the name that I finally landed on. And the reason for that is because I truly believe that, these people and what they're doing, it's a calling. Hey, no more. It's a calling on their life. When people are led into, missions and things like that, that is a call in their life for sure. I mean, we're all called to be missionaries, not necessarily all called to be like foreign missionaries, but we should all be doing missions of some sort, within our own community or circle of influence. And like I said, a big issue was that many of them just didn't have, I don't think, a big enough platform, or I can't think of the word, but they needed a bigger spectrum of people to know about them and what they're doing. So Adopt a Calling is basically just going to be a video podcast where, I'm going to get on and have, I guess you could call it, interviews with different people. I mean, I already have people lined up that I'm interested in doing it with because they're, friends or family. My older sister is a full-time missionary. So definitely her and some of the other people, like I've mentioned, that I've met through YWAM and that I've met along the way. Some of them are international. Some of them are local to like the States, or local to even to my area. And I just want people to have the opportunity to hear about what they're doing. And so then they can decide if that's something that's speaking to them and something that God is putting on their heart to then partner with them. And like I said, that can be partnering with them as like following their ministry, getting, newsletters, updates, and, committing to partner with them in prayer. It could be obviously financial support. That's always needed with missionaries. Just trust me, that's always needed with missionaries. And then also, I eventually would love to even connect people in a way of like, hey, we have connections where you can actually take a mission trip yourself and go boots on the ground to where they are, see what they're doing for yourself in person, because that's always a good thing as well. I've been on several mission trips, and I'm hoping, this is also a big announcement, I'm hoping that God will provide for me to be able to go to Uganda next summer of 2026. That's a whole long story, but there is a ministry there that I have been following just about as long as, it was shortly after I came back from my DTS in 2015 that I started following them. And my brother, that I call him now, Brian, there is doing amazing things. That's besides the point. He will be in one of the interviews for sure. But the biggest thing is, like I said, I want them to be known, to be seen, to be heard. I think their stories and their ministry can truly impact people. So I'm trying to just bring everyone together with, this social media platforms and everything that we have nowadays. It's so much easier to try to get the word out there and just to have a big base of people who will be able to follow along. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Lots to learn. Don't know anything about doing any of this. Just using this program right now is a total new thing. Recording this is just kind of like a practice run. Got to learn how to use all the other parts and, how to get people connected on the other end. Don't have any special fancy equipment, nothing like that. So I'm just trusting God. And, if you guys would be praying for me, this is, like I said, this is the fruition of several years, more years than it probably should have been, and God just preparing me for this and calling me to do this. So again, I'm just trying to be faithful and walk in obedience, and I just look forward to seeing what God is going to do through this. So keep me in your prayers, and look forward to seeing you soon. All right, God bless you. I love you guys, and we'll talk soon.